Let's now invite former Conservative Cabinet Minister and Deputy Leader of the party, Lisa Raitt, in this conversation. Lisa, good evening. Great to see you. Thank you for taking out the time.
My pleasure, actually. Good to be here.
So let's get the obvious question out of the way first, which is, will Pierre Poilievre get the numbers he needs to stay on as the leader?
Absolutely. There's no doubt. You can take this one to the bank. He will get the numbers that is needed. He's very popular in the Conservative Party. And like Stephanie Kuzy just said, whatever the number is, it's for the leader to determine what he does next. And I expect his next move will be a heck of a speech he's going to give to the party faithful out there in Calgary.
Okay, so let me ask you about the level of support do you think that Pierre Poilievre really needs to have right now to move forward with the overall mood in the party?
Really is the magic question. Everybody wants to know, is there a number? I think, you know, if you take a look at what Stephen Harper got in the past, I thought it was around 87%. That to me is a really high bar. I don't know whether or not that's actually possible, but we'll see what ends up happening for Pierre. I would expect, you know, I'm going to peg it above 75% is probably what somebody would like to have to be very comfortable. But regardless of the number, it's going to be in the hands of the leader to determine what to do with it. And like I said, he is a very popular figure in the Conservative movement.
Right. And what you were describing just a few moments ago, of course, happened within the party like almost 2 decades ago, Lisa, with Mr. Harper. So we have to see how this plays out in terms of the numbers, also the people turning up for the convention. But let me ask you about, you know, you spoke about the speech. Now, we have heard from Pierre Poilievre in the new year itself on several issues in Canada, whether it's affordability and how work needs to be done in the country instead of outside the country, and how the Prime Minister now needs to deliver on the promises that he is making. What do you think, though, Lisa, his speech really needs to convey when he speaks tomorrow and the path forward?
You know what I'm looking for from him? I want a speech on unity. I want a speech on unity in the party. I want a speech on unity in this country. I don't think we're making enough efforts to make sure that all of Canada is happy with the direction we're going in. And we see that popping up in Quebec and Alberta. And I want to see a national leader who takes the matter seriously and reaches out to everybody across, because we need to be cohesive in this country together if we're going to be facing all of the geopolitical problems external to us.
You know, it's interesting you bring that up, because, of course, that was a part of a conversation, major conversation in Ottawa today. We heard, of course, from most of the premiers, whether it's David Eby or whether it's Wab Kinew or Danielle Smith herself, on the particular meeting that the separatist group had in the U.S. Let me ask you about Conservative sentiment towards that, though. That particular meeting at a time when relationships with the U.S. are very difficult at the moment, Lisa.
You know, Conservatives believe in a united Canada. That's what I fundamentally believe. That's my friends. That's people who I work with across this country. That's what my leader has said. That's what Danielle Smith has said. You know, she has said that she believes that in Alberta that is strong within a sovereign Canada. And that's kind of what my point of view is. Is it interesting to me that there are meetings happening in Washington? Sure. We don't know the extent of the meetings. We don't know if they're even taken seriously. But what I can say is that it's up to Canadians
but when U.S. Treasury Secretary talks about Alberta, I think they are being taken seriously. It's not like they're not listening and they're not watching what's happening here.
They are. Certainly they're watching what's happening. But I mean, if we think that the independent movement, whatever that is, in Alberta is taking serious high-level meetings with the Washington administration, I don't think that's the case whatsoever.
Okay.
Do I think that the Americans are watching and playing mischief when it comes to this movement? Absolutely. And that's why we need to be strong and solid and determined to stay together.
Let me talk to you about what has happened in the recent past within the Conservatives. We all saw the defections that took place. They don't look on the party leadership. Pierre Poilievre's personal ratings are way down as compared to the Prime Minister at the moment. So I'm going to ask you about, what do you think Pierre Poilievre needs to do to project and communicate to bridge that gap?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's interesting. I think they're taking the right tack in the House of Commons right now, focusing on affordability and what everyday people are seeing at the grocery store, because those are the questions that matter to Canadians, and those are the things that people eventually may vote on. I think they're on the right track. That's the kind of thing that they have to continue to hammer home on. Look, it's impossible to protect against any kind of individual who thinks they want to walk across the floor to the Liberals for their personal feelings. Our job is to make sure that our job. It's no longer my job, but the conservative movement's job is to make sure that people understand what it is we stand for, the values that we have, and that they're going to be able to defend them in the House of Commons. So individuals may make their own choice, but the movement is very clear in what they stand for.
Lisa Raitt, former Conservative Cabinet Minister, thank you for your time, Lisa. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Have a great night, actually. Thank you.